Hey, Realtor Avery.
Hello, Rhonda Chuck. How are you?
Great. Welcome everybody to the show. What I just decided just a second. I think we need to take some suggestions on a name for the show. I think we should ask our audience, say, hey, do you have an idea? Go ahead and put it in the comments. And another thing that I was thinking that we might need to start doing is, so I'm going to do it now, is I'm going to let everybody know that both you and I are licensed associate real estate brokers. And we might be, we might be your broker, but we might not. So if we're not your broker, then, and you got a question, certainly send it our way, but we might be able to help you, and we might actually point you in a direction towards, someone in your area, right? All right, listen, our audience is international. People are all over, being so close to Canada. I'm sure we're picking up some Canadians. And I don't know about you, but I'm not licensed in Canada. I'm not licensed anywhere outside of New York State.
Not yet.
So like I said, we might be a broker, but we might not. So
right.
I felt like we should remind everybody of that.
Okay.
So that's exciting. So, today we're talking about number, data, stats. Like, I'm still pretty OCD about all that jazz.
Before we move off your intro, I will point out that in less than 30 days, I will be visiting Panama. And Panama is an option for international relocation. There's a lot of U.S. residents who consider moving to Panama. I've never been to Costa Rica, but it's a nice, alternative to Costa Rica. So kind of interesting. And I'm actually already have an appointment to meet with a broker down there and learn a little bit more about real estate in Panama and what it takes to buy internationally. And I mean, we didn't plan on talking about this, but
we don't really plan much. I'll let everyone know a big secret. We don't, if we make it sound like we do all sorts of planning and prep, but
we do some. But no, seriously, through leading real estate companies of the world, like we have relationships everywhere. I've mentioned in the past that I have friends who are spending 3 years in France. And before they made that move, I took a course on golden passports and how you can live and work in other countries as a U.S. citizen. And it really is fascinating. And it was kind of interesting that I did that program through leading real estate companies of the world. And less than 60 days later, a friend calls and says, hey, can you help us out? We need to go to France for 3 years. It's like, I had no clue that would happen. And it worked out great. So yes, if you said, hey, I need help with a realtor in Panama, I'd be like, sure thing, I got you.
Hey, you be the connector. Like that's a lot of what we do, right? We're the connections. That's pretty much what we do all the time.
Yes. So so we're going to be talking about data today because we know what's going on in our market, right? I've friends who are moving back here from Florida, and I'm like, okay, here's what the market's like here. Your realtor there is going to be talking about what the market is there. She's going to be your expert. It's kind of funny. Their realtor in Florida is also named Lisa. So, we jokingly say, well, what does Southern Lisa have to say about this? And Northern Lisa says this, so
Yankee Lisa.
What'd you say?
Yankee Lisa.
Yeah. So I can run the reports in Florida, right? I can run the reports in their city. But I don't know the nuances in their market. She knows the nuances in their market. I know the nuances in my market.
Nuance. Okay. I like it.
Real estate is very nuanced.
All right. So tell me about the nuances in Western New York. What's going on? Tell me about these nuances.
Well, the nuances in Western New York, it's funny because we were looking a little bit at the data points, right? And even if we just look at how many new listings, not brand new houses, my mistake. It's a house that hasn't been listed for sale before, hits the market in the month of January, in December, in November, right? So a lot of times we see a cyclical number of listings. So we can look at, for example, in December 2024 in all of Erie County. Now pay attention, Chuck, because I'm going to ask you a question. In December, we had 348. Go back a couple more slides to that first slide because I want to talk about Erie County.
Remember in Erie County? That was here we are.
Okay. So in Erie County, we had December 348 new listings. Okay. And then in November, there were 541 new listings, right? So we went down from 541 to 3.
Yeah, that's seasonal. I mean, I think you're looking at, right? I mean, that's the difference of looking month to month versus on a 13-month rolling average.
Right. But if we look at in January 2024, we had 416 new listings.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's more than we've had in December. So my question to you, Chuck, is,
yeah.
All right, I want to see your face. I want to see you thinking on this.
Okay.
All right. So if we think about January 2025,
yeah.
Okay, do you think we will have more or less listings than we took in January 2024?
Okay, let me think about this. Well, all right. Well, how far in the playoffs are the Bills going to go? That's what I got to know. That's the wild card in all this.
Right? At least.
I mean, how far did they go? Didn't last year? Didn't they lose in the semi, like the AFC Championship game?
I believe we had 2 playoff games last year. This year we should have more. We should be playing until February 9th.
Well, if we've got more playoff games, then we're getting less listing inventory. I hate to tell you, because nobody's moving, because they need. You can't move when you're planning your Super Bowl party. I mean,
and we joke around a lot on this show, but he's not kidding.
I'm not kidding.
Right? This impacts. Because, okay, if you're an investor, right? If you're an investor and it's your business plan to buy more real estate, you have a different mindset than I'm out looking at houses. I'm getting my house ready to sell. Like your life, your activities impact what's going on. Frankly, lots of people make decisions on their marriages in December and January. That could have an impact on the number of listings, right? We also look at the number of snowstorms. If we get a couple of big 4 or 5 foot snowfalls on a weekend in January, that will impact our numbers. So it's, all kidding. Now, personally, I still think we're going to have more than last year. I will go on record. I believe we will have more than 416 listings in January.
And I think part of that, a lot of people have been using the term the lock-in effect. Right. Regarding our interest rates. And I think the data still points to more than 50, like significantly more than 50%. I'm going to say 60% of people have interest rates locked in at under 4%. It's right. But they're getting used to that. And I don't care what your trade is. Something happens in your life and your job change, or you had 2 more kids, or you've got this, or you mentioned some people to make a marriage decision, a life decision, and things happen. You're going to need to move. Right. So, but I think the lock-in effect is starting to ease a little bit. And I find I've been talking with clients who bought their house between 2007, 2008, and 2014. There's like a cohort of homeowners who moved in that between, let's say between 2008 to even 2018, a 10-year period, where they bought the house with interest rates that are very similar to what we have now, and not everybody refinanced.
Right.
And they're looking at getting into the right home. And really the interest rate is a non-factor, because they've been used to it for 10 plus years.
Yes.
And they've got so much equity in their house. There's, I think 40% of the houses are free and clear in the United States. And there's so much pent up equity in properties.
Yes.
So people have a lot of options.
I agree. And, it was with an agent meeting with some clients who were looking to sell, and one family member has a relocation. And so adult child buying a house, the parent moving in with them. And so now that parent's house is on the market. So, all kinds. And so that house is probably going on the market within a week. And that's, something that's happening in January, right? Because, they're ready. The situations, personal situations dictated the time. And again, they're not trying to time the market. They're not investors. They're just saying, hey, our life situation says now's the time to do it.
And for realtors on the watching, check your look up your local zoning and read what those codes, read what the acceptable uses are for each code. You're going to find some areas that are zoned we call it R1. Find out if ADUs are permissible in those R1 districts or not. In some areas they might be, and in other areas they might not be. It really is going to be on a local planning board to planning board basis. Who said yes to this and who said no to that. I mean, but you gotta know that stuff, because you might be able to give your clients some amazing information.
One of the towns, just one town over from me, Eden, New York, which is a great place to live, great agricultural land. It's a wonderful area, nice and hilly. They changed their zoning to allow two independent structures on one lot, as long as one of those structures is owner occupied. Wow. But a perfect way to have, that, accessory dwelling unit, totally separate, right?
Right.
So
no,
that's huge.
That's awesome. I mean, because we're here to provide solutions that people want to help to make their lives better, right? And that's what, and your local communities, you're the ones making the rules for where you live.
Yeah. So. I mean, and look at, again, speaking to everyone and realtors, especially, get on those boards, get on the zoning committee, get on the tax committee, and then you, not only do you know faster what's going on, you have some input, and you can be we look at the National Association of Realtors as the voice of buyers, the voice of property homeowners and people who want to be homeowners. Like if the people are saying we want more ADUs, and as a realtor, you can say, hey, this is the demand in our area. More people will stay if they can, right? If I can build an accessory dwelling unit for my family member, rather than that family member moving to Tennessee, why not keep them here in New York State or whatever state you're listening from?
Right.
Stay close to family. But so that's totally off topic. But I think that, looking at what's going on, and again, if the inventory is not there, build it, right? As realtors, we also, when I was talking to my friends about moving back up here, I'm like, let's go look at some model houses. Why not build? Let's get exactly what you want. You have the time. You've got the flexibility. Why not build your dream home?
Get on those local boards, those local planning boards, and and help influence those decisions as to what can be built in your local communities. Because I heard a guy, I was listening to a thing today, and a guy said, he goes, 1,500 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath houses will never be built ever again. He goes, well, we're never building those houses. And the thing is in those houses, that's what almost every client I talk to wants, right? But he goes, they can't build them because the infrastructure, when you're building a new community, to put in the roads, to put in the plumbing, to put in all that, it costs so much that then when it's time for the builder to actually build the house, it doesn't make sense for them to build that property. But if we can get more of us on those committees to help influence and make those decisions, and let everyone know that that's what we need, and make it more affordable for us to develop exactly the communities we need and want, that'd be great. I think we'll all benefit. Our communities will benefit, our clients will benefit, and we as realtors will absolutely benefit.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. And that's, and so we're using statistics, we're using the data. I mean, I feel like we should throw more numbers out there, because we did say this was a data show, but prices are still good, right? Days on market. If you're looking to sell, it is still a good time to sell. Buyers, yes, it's competitive, but if you're prepared, the worst thing you can do is try to go look at a house before you're ready. You're going to fall in love with something. You're not going to be ready to make a decision and act upon it. Someone else will get that house, and you'll always be wishing for that house. But if you get your financials in order, whether it just means, hey, I've got to pull money out of this account because I'm going to pay cash, or I just need to make sure it's liquid, or I'm going to talk about getting a mortgage, and I want to make sure that mortgage is ready. And I'm, don't stop at pre-qualified, get pre-approved. Get a cash advantage program. If you're in a first priority area, get a cash advantage, and you're a super strong buyer. And then start. then start looking at houses, right? It's kind of like, you're walking in, I've got a blank check, I'm ready to make an offer, right? That's pretty much what that cash advantage is.
Eddie Warbucks walking in there.
Tell me your number. But I mean, all kidding aside, that's a much better buyer than, oh, I love this house, let me call the bank.
No, true story. So in the moment, and I usually don't talk about things that are happening right now, but showed a house and called the listing agent today and said, hey, not that we want to act slowly or anything, but is there any reason we need to act quickly? This house has been on the market for a month and a half. Which is
a long time in this market.
Right. And I go, we're not trying to be slow, but is there any reason we need to be quick? We need to be fast. And she said, today's what, Monday? She goes, well, an offer came in on Friday. They're going to make an adjustment and she gave me this. And so I called my client and said, hey, what looked like where we were the only game and be able to really, put my thumb on it. I go, I found out that's not the situation. And if you want to write on this, we need to go right now. So it's, when you don't think you need to move fast, you probably need to go fast. And if she wasn't already pre-qualified, there's no way we'd be in this conversation.
No. And thankfully they're working with a mortgage person who's not just, 9 to 4:30 at a bank office that isn't going to help over the weekend. And then you're really stuck, right? Like, so, another shout out to our first priority mortgage consultants that are available to, I want to say 24/7. I do think they sleep, but
wake them up.
Yeah. No, do not disturb for them. No. I thought you hid those buttons. No, all kidding aside. So know your numbers. If what you've heard makes you more interested, talk to your realtor, find out what's going on in your neighborhood. We can drill down as tight of numbers as you want. When we're working for buyers, we're looking at what's happening in the neighborhoods and comparable neighborhoods. Some people do say, hey, I want only this town, only this village. Some people say, I want this side of Rochester, or I want these areas near the water. Like, as we compare, we're looking at it from a buyer's point of view and a seller's point of view. And so
is there a way you can go into your RPR and dial into those? I know I like to get data off RPR a lot. I think it's a really valuable tool. How do you dial in closely on that?
By zip code, in some cases by school district, right? Okay. Both of us, Chuck, we've been doing this a long time. You know what kind of, like in my town, right? You might have the town of Hamburg, the town of Boston, some of Eden is going to be places people look. North towns, they might say, I want Amherst or Clarence. They might, now again, it could be, I want the Williamsville school districts and I want this high school, right? So the client's going to decide. Now, if you have someone coming in and they just say, I want that school district, my kids are, 2 or 3, we're willing to start anywhere versus, when I moved at one point, we really liked the elementary school. We didn't want to leave that elementary school. So that limited our choices. It made it longer to find a house, but that was a decision we made at the time.
Very good.
And I don't regret it.
No, listen, I recall my elementary school days very fondly.
See?
Very good.
And then other times it's like, we might have, again, in both of our cities, we have lots of waterfront. So someone who says, I want to live on the lake, you might be showing them houses in 3 different counties because they want to be on Lake Erie, they want to be on Lake Ontario, and they're very flexible, with the town as long as they can be on a lake.
Even in Batavia, we have Horseshoe Lake. Most people don't even know about it. You probably never heard of it.
No.
You drive by it on Route 5 that goes, straight through when you're heading out towards Stafford, like maybe you're on your way to the Red Osier, and I
do know that.
There's a row of trees, and honestly, on the other side of the trees is this lake that is big enough. There's houses around it, so we got lakes everywhere.
Yeah, we're very fortunate.
That's awesome. Yeah,
yes.
I think people are moving here. I think so.
I think they like it,
I do. My client just moved back from living in other places. And she's like, Western New York is the pull. It's where I belong. I know that feeling.
Yes.
Know
Yes.
that feeling.
Yes. So business,
All right.
we both believe 2025 numbers are going to be up in all categories.
We do. I agree.
I believe that.
I don't think we're going to be up as much as the rest of the country, though. I will say that. I think there's other parts of the country that, that lead in the trends, and Western New York usually is not a leader in the trends. It's for a lot of reasons. We're super cool. We just don't lead that way. So I think we'll be up, just not quite as much. We're a little bit farther back on the path than some other areas.
Right. And I think we just don't have if you look at a 5% change, that starting number, 5% is 1,000 or 50,000, right? So, when we look at percentages versus I agree with you, Chuck. We're not as extreme, just in cold.
I kind of like that though. I've always liked that as a realtor, business practitioner, like steady Eddies.
Yeah, we never had a bubble burst. We never had a bubble. We never had a burst. It was nice. Right. When much of the country was in trouble, we were doing pretty good.
Yeah. Hey.
So I agree. I agree. Well, it was, as Chuck always says, no comment left behind. We'll throw some charts in here. We'll put in the comments some of the graphics that we threw up there quickly so that you can look more at that and share some numbers in your area.
Right on.
Tell us what's happening and let other realtors know where those strong communities are.
Okay. 100%. Well done, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. See you next week. Cheers, everybody.